Hello, good morning. Good morning, or good afternoon, good evening, whatever time you're watching this. Thank you for joining me today at my 2B's Garden channel. Today is day 2 of the 30-day challenge, and I realized yesterday that the success to this challenge is being quick. So I am gonna run around and get my chores done. It's, I know, a little after 7 on this beautiful summer morning, and I am going to follow my. Let's see, I'm having my coffee. I'm going to follow my goals, which is water. I have to water pots. I have some stuff in pots, my hummingbird highway and my tomatoes. So I have to water those every day anyway, though usually my kids help me. And I want to pull a weed. I want a deadhead, prune. I want to feed or nourish the garden in some way. And what was my other one? See, it's too early. I haven't had enough coffee yet. I think I talked to my sign that like document. So that's what I'm going to do today. So come with me as I walk around and look for my garden chores this morning. Yesterday, I did finish the chelated chelated iron project that I couldn't get to because of the sun yesterday. So I finished that up. So I'm feeling pretty good about this bed and the chores that I want to do. Um, I think what I'm going to concentrate on is the weeding in this bed. This is where I have the clover or the spurge, and some of the dreaded Bermuda grass. So I'm going to uh, pull weeds here, and I can see them pretty much in this bed. So this will be my bed I'm going to work on. I'm going to pull a couple weeds. I think I always say pull one weed, but I'm going to pull more than just one weed. Oh, garden dog, there's Gabby. Um, then for my prune, I am going to deadhead these roses. These are the David Austin Royal Jubilee. They're gorgeous and they're giant. And this is like their third flush or something like that. They just bloom, bloom, bloom. It's incredible. But I got to take off some of these. So I will do that. Go through and clean them up. They'll look a bit naked after it, but that's okay. Naked is better than dead blossoms. And let's see, what else did I say I was going to do? Um, uh, Feed. Gosh, maybe I'll get to my hummingbird feeders today. I have 5 hummingbird feeders. I try to clean them out twice a week. I do have something called Nectar Defender in them, which means that it holds off the bacteria or the mold that grows in them for a lot longer. So that's been super helpful. So maybe that will be part of my Nourish the Garden, Feed the Garden. And then I think that'll take me through. So, look, my heart of hibiscus now is just, I had the one bloom, and then another, and then another, and then another. So now they're all just starting to pop. Lots of beautiful, beautiful blossoms just all starting. It's not pretty. Okay, so I think I've got my chore list for today. I don't plan on bringing you along. I don't think you think it that all that interesting. Maybe I'll show you how to deadhead these giant roses. But for some of the other things, it's pretty boring. So I'll go get that done, and then I'll document what I'm doing, and then we'll talk about it. Let me show you what I'm doing, because these are maybe a little bit non-traditional way of, well, I shouldn't say non-traditional. These huge long canes that they've produced cause some different ways of pruning. Let me tell you what I'm talking about. So this Royal Jubilee is huge, and it was getting bullied out by the sage, so the salvia, so it threw up these really long canes, and all you get is just that little bit of uh, rows at the top, and you don't want that. You want them branching off and doing more, so you get more blooms along the whole bloom stalk. So if you just let all of these long canes, and I feel like Royal Jubilee is one that you could grow as a short climber if you wanted to. It's a very vigorous plant, but it's a little spindly right now with all of these things. So traditionally, you would come in, and let's just say I wanted to do this flower here. You just, oh, here's a dead one. You just trace it back till you find the first healthy leaf with five, or healthy, whatever leaf grouping of five. And you go back and you find that, like, here's five right here. So you would trim, and wherever the leaf is growing on is where the new growth is going to come from. So I'm looking for like an example to show you of where I trimmed. Here's one right here. Here's a good example. So I trimmed Deadheaded right here, and here's a leaf here, and here's the new growth coming out. Can you see that right there? So the new growth is coming out right there. So wherever you deadhead and cut, look for where that leaf is starting to coming out of the stalk, and that will show you where you need to prune, generally speaking. So if this were a normal pruning job, and you were doing exactly what you've always been taught to do, you would follow this back till you found like the first healthy set of five. So looking at this might need some fertilizer. So here's five, but it's kind of got the stalk right here. So normally I would probably cut it right here. This means that it would grow out this way, which is good, away from my shade structure. However, I don't want this long cane in my walkway. This is where we walk. And it's too big, and I need to prune for size at this point. So I am actually going to take it way down to about here. This way, and I'm going to cut, and that new branch will come here, which is just fine by me. It'll grow up and out. So now that's been pruned for size. And same with this one here. I don't want this long spindly, so I'm going to follow it and see where it comes back. And it looks like it's attached to this big leader right here. So I'm going to take it down to about here. And Royal Jubilee doesn't have a lot of thorns, but it does have thorns. There. Here's another one. I'm going to follow this one. This one is not too out of control, so I'm okay with doing more traditional. I think I'm going to cut it just right. There. And then these, I cut these up here, but I actually want to take these down a little bit more for size control. So I'm just going to prune a lot of these things. Yeah, I'm pretty lucky. This is not a bad, I have rose pruning gloves, but now sometimes you'll get a situation like this where you have 4 blooms on here, but one of them is still pretty and the other 3 aren't. So I generally stick my kangaroo bag under here. What I just do for those is I'll just do a quick prune where I just take off the dead ones. I'll leave the pretty one, and then I will come back and properly prune this when this one is finished. Same with this one. I'll just take off this dead one. And it just tidies things up, but still lets you still have a pretty, and those are, so now these, look at these eyes, way at the top. I can't even reach that guy. So when I come to deadhead this one, I will take it, see where it is, I'll take it all the way down to the leaf where the rest of this leaf canopy is. Definitely pruned for size. This is a very vigorous shrub. But there, that's deadheading. Look how easy that was. All right. Job or goal number 1, check. All right, I'm going to go enjoy a sip of coffee, and I'm going to go do some more chores. Maybe water. Oh, that's what I should do. I should go water my hummingbird garden. Come with me. I'll show you what's going on there. Okay, that was done. All right, here is my hummingbird highway, as I like to call it. And I call it that because I wanted to grow plants here that would bring the hummingbirds to my yard and my garden. Though, if you happen to notice, there's not a lot of sun here. So it's really all of an experiment about what plants do hummingbirds like, that can grow successfully in conditions like this. And I am actually finding a few successes. So obviously fuchsias do great. And I have several fuchsias here. But what's interesting is that I never see them visiting. So I have this fuchsia down here in this mixed pot. I have one up here in this hanging basket. I have that one there in that hanging basket. And I have these ones here in this basket or pot container. And I have this one that I actually have on the ground. I had it hanging, but it was getting a little too much sun, so I had to protect it. What I have learned is that hummingbirds like to be up higher for their food source. So hummingbird will never visit something that's low on the ground. So I've got to retool and figure out, how to maybe provide something better for them. Um, I did put um, fuchsias in these new hanging baskets. So, but they're towards the back of the wall. Though I did say I was going to rotate these. So I'll see if if the hummingbirds like these. I don't see them going for them too much, but there's too many other good things. Honestly, what I really see them going for is my salvia and my hummingbird feeders. That's it. I had some bee balm in there in that back, and that's done. I did want to share with you. I'll walk you through some of these things. I have two angels trumpets. I have this one here, and that one's I think called Phenomenal. And then I have this one here, which is called Painted Lady. I got these from an online um, Angel's Trumpet grower, and as sticks, and they've really filled in. I've only had them for 4 months or so, and they've really filled in. I've tried these before, and they were riddled with spider mites. I mean, terribly. So much so, I never could get a handle on it, so I ended up throwing them away. What I learned is that spider mites like things dry and hot, which is exactly what our summer is. So here I've taken to getting this all wet, nice and wet. I try to even get the undersides of the leaves, and I just get everything nice and saturated, so making it inhospitable to spider mites. That's the hope anyway. So everything else in here, I have some uh, Salvia greggii, which they supposedly love, but again, I've never seen visiting it. It's too low. And then I've got some Rockin' Deep Purple salvia in these two beds, but not enough sun for them to do, phenomenally well like the other ones I have, but they do okay. But again, no hummingbirds. I have Buellton. I have Lucky Lantern, Tangerine Buellton in the back. I have two of them, one there and one here. They're so pretty. And then I have an Buellton Tiger's Eye, which is up there. Look at how cool those are. See if we can get up closer. Look, aren't those cool? I love those. Um, they don't go for those, and those are 8 feet in the air. So either I'm not out here watching enough. Or, but even when I had, so this fuchsia that used to be here, I mean, that is there, used to be here where it was got a little too fried. They didn't go here, and that was nice and tall and high up in the sky, and they didn't visit there. So, and I have, they do visit this. I have the vermillionaire, the Kufia vermillionaires. Other varieties, they're called like hummingbird's lunch or something. They do visit this. And I have watched them work this entire bush, going all around it, diving in between the house. So they'll work for something if they like it, I guess. We'll see. But in terms of the hummingbird highway part of things, mostly they come to my feeders. So, oh well. So that just means I have, places to find for some of my other things. I have this really cool weeping, thinking weeping Norway, something or other. I got it as a little baby and it's doing great, just hanging out here. And then I have my Hinoki cypress here that's doing great, underplanted with lobelia. And I have lobelia in about 12 places in my garden. And this is by far the one that's doing the best. Isn't that pretty? What else do I have here? I have geum, which are done flowering now, but this is a beautiful tangerine geum. I'm going to transplant that into the garden in the fall, most likely. It actually blooms beautifully in here every early spring, but it will do even better in the garden, and I have a place for it. I have a couple pots in here that are with begonias, coral bells, dead nettle, also called lamium. I have another abuletin or flowering maple here. This one is a pretty pink. I don't have any blossoms on it yet, but there's some buds that are coming. It's not as a profuse bloomer as this one. This Lucky Lantern, uh, it's just goes and goes and goes pretty much year round. It's really a phenomenal plant. Of the three that I have, the three varieties, this one by far does the best. Let's see, what else do I have here? I have the giant herb Robert, also called geranium, and I can never say the name, maddenense or something like that. That will bloom next year because it's a biannual. It's an understory plant, so it really likes it here. I got these as little sticks, and it's doing great. And I'll get some giant blooms from it next year. I have this new plant called red birds in a tree. In a tree, aren't they cool? They say the hummingbirds like them because they're tubular. I haven't seen hummingbirds on them, but I really like the pop of pinky red that they bring to this shady garden. So I think those are really pretty. And I've got some pineapple sage that wants way more sun than it's getting. I got one little bloom, and that's that. And I think that's pretty much all my hummingbird highway plants. So, okay, there we go. That chore, check. All right. What else? Turn the camera around. What else? So, I still need to water my tomatoes and I'm gonna feed my garden. So I'm gonna do that. I'll bring you with me. Hang on just a sec. Okay, I couldn't figure out how to hold my coffee and bring you along to show you, but I did just water my tomatoes. I'll show you what those look like. Aren't they pretty? And they're doing so well. So I have I want to say 15, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14 up front, and then one in my orphan bed, and then one in my back pot. And I've got a Better Boy, which is doing fabulous. In fact, I think I may have two of those. One was a mystery tomato because someone lost the tag. Then I've got Garden Candy, Sun Gold, Cherokee Purple, which I think is doing great. Super Bush, which is doing great. This one is something pineapple. That's why they're yellow. And this one is Moscovich, which these two look the worst. Their leaves are all crispy, but they look great. Then I have a Cherry Falls in the pot. Then I've got a bush Roma, a um, Constelluto Genovese, which is this cool, really deeply lobed one. Bonnie Best, which is, I think, my most reliable. Stupice, which is not very impressive looking in terms of foliage, but the production has been so-so. And then a pole, supposedly supposed to be a beefsteak, but it's not. But this is the only place I have to grow tomatoes right now, though I do have plans to maybe swap out this lawn for something. Pretty cool, huh? I have to say. Okay, next on my chore is feed. And I've decided what I'm going to do. Let me turn the camera into the direction. My roses are suffering from black spot for the first time in my life. I've never had black spot here. We had some late rain. This is my Eden. I have 2 Edens in here along with several varieties of clematis. So I'm going to feed this, and I'm going to feed everything in my orphan garden, all my citrus, and I'm going to feed it with Linda Knowles' special recipe, which is Maxicrop, which is a seaweed powder, and Epsom salts. And you mix it. Let me turn the camera around. Hang on. There we go. You mix it in. This is Linda Knowles. She's a famous rosarian in Roseville, appropriately named. She's wonderful, and she does a lot of community outreach. In fact, she was the one that gave me the cutting for my Renee. Linda, if you're watching, of the 2 you gave me, one unfortunately did die, but this one did great. Look at it. There's my Renee right there. It's doing great. Very exciting. I'm going to plant it somewhere soon. I'm still babying it a little bit. Anyway, she's the one that uses this sprayer. And I love this because there's no uh, like tube. It's just this and this, and there's no tube. So you put your powder down there, just a little bit, and then you just spray everybody down. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to add a little bit of my tomato veggie Bloom City plant food in there as well. So I'm going to put these 3 things in, all organic, all natural, and I'm just going to spray everything down. So I'll show you how I do that. Okay, so I have just, you can see it, a little bit of the seaweed extract, a little bit of Epsom salts, a little bit of Bloom City, and that's it. You don't fill that container up with water, but whoop, you turn this on and that comes out, and then you can turn it on when you're facing where you want to spray. And it just supposedly fills it up and has it come out, and it will just slowly dilute and spray your plants. I don't know how to tell if it's coming out. I just have to, I guess, trust and hope that it's coming out. But she says she just drenches her plants. So I'm drenching. I'm going to come in here. I have my new little, this is my new fruity petals. Isn't that cute? Here's my citrus. Now, the Epsom salt is really good. Let me make this a little bit smaller for you. There you go. Epsom salts is really good for nitrogen or root growth, plant growth, green foliar growth, whereas the sea kelp, I think, I don't know, maybe they're both. I'll have to go do some research. I can't remember what Linda said. And then the veggie and tomato food that I put in there is good for bloom growth, because that's what you want for your tomatoes and vegetable production, is bloom growth. Things that are in pots, such as my hummingbird garden, need to be fertilized way more often than they do if they're in the ground. When they are in a pot, they are captive, right? The only nutrition they are getting is from the potting soil that you planted them with, and that is depleted very quickly by watering and just natural uptake of them using it. So they are depending on us to feed them more regularly than we would ever do to plants in the ground. They say, they, being the royal they, I guess, they say that you should be feeding, I guess maybe your annuals and your like really prolific bloomers. They say you should feed them every third watering. I think that's what Proven Winter says on their water soluble, which is not organic, so I use that very sparingly. But every third watering in a container, because that's how often the nutrients get utilized in a container. I will admit I do it weekly to my supertunias only, and my super and my calibrachoas, because those are profuse blooming annuals, and they need a little bit of that synthetic hit. But the rest of my garden, I really try to improve the soil. Um, so I really work on compost and uh, adding granular fertilizer to the soil, getting the soil fed so it can feed your plants better. Um, so that's kind of my goal. I haven't actually ever come in here and done this to these plants. So I'm like, oh, this is a good opportunity. You can tell, there's some yellowing, like my hydrangeas looks hungry. I did feed it with hydrangea food, but doesn't look like it really cared too much about that. So maybe I need to just either do more. We'll see if this helps too. But they say that the kelp extract, the maxi crop, helps with yellowing, and same with the Epsom salts, helps with the um, yellowing of leaves. Now, yellowing leaves is a tricky subject because yellowing leaves could be too much water, not enough water. It's hungry. It's just shedding normal leaves. Like, it's just, there's so many reasons why something might be yellowing. I find that really frustrating, to be honest. It's like, ah, guessing game. If only plants could talk, right? Um, so that's all right. So I'm just giving everything a good soaking. And once this, I'm sorry, I'm shaking the camera, I'm trying to shift hands here. Once this is container runs clear, that means that it's all done. So uh, I think I can see it coming out. Like the water's got a little bit of a color to it, and I can smell the tomato fertilizer. Oh, interesting. So it's coming out the sides. Oops, hang on. Oops, sorry about that. It was coming out the sides. Goodness gracious. It was like oozing out the sides. Crazy. Wonder why. I don't use these feeders all that often, so it's not something I'm familiar with. I usually prefer granular because you just put it down, scratch it in, done. These are always like, the tube, is the tube connected? Is it here? Is it there? I don't know. Let's get it. But I can smell it now, so I definitely think it's working. Look at my bower vine starting. Only one. I have one on either side of this arch, and only one is grown up. The other one is just content to be down here blooming. I'm like, really? Dude, so funny. Okay, I'm gonna finish doing this. I don't think you need to watch me do every single little plant. I'll finish doing this, and then I'll come back and talk about it. Okay, done. Though I didn't finish my coffee. um, yeah, I think I got it all done. I fertilized the entire garden with the maxi crop, and um, Epsom salts and tried to. I struggled with that hose feeder. I actually ended up turning it upside down. It wasn't. It was only water was coming out. Nothing else was coming out. But when I turned it upside down and shook it around, felt like it started working better. Anyway, it's probably a me problem. It usually is. So I fertilized. I deadheaded. I harvested. What did I harvest? What do you think? Tomatoes. Always more tomatoes. Documented. Hello. That's what we're doing right now. So yeah, I think. Oh, I didn't pull any weeds. All right, let's go find a weed. I can do it. I can find a weed. No problem. Let's just go over here and find one that I can get to. Here we go. Here's a nice weed. Here, come with me as I pull this weed. Do you guys have this spurge? It's like a clover. It's a really annoying weed. So, okay. Oh, there's a few more. See, I can do it. I can just get these guys really quickly. I've already pulled these ones up. Got to get their roots. Oh, yeah, there's one. Oh, there's the big guy. So I did go down to Green Acres yesterday and I picked up a few plants. So that'll be on my chore list. I actually have a chore list going. All right. I picked a few weeds. There we go. So I'll go throw them in the green waste. That does it. I met my goals. I'm pretty sure. I did everything. I watered. I pulled weeds. I deadheaded. I made nourished my garden in some way, and I harvested and I documented. So I did my goals. It's like 8:30. So I've been out here for about an hour and a half, but it doesn't feel like an hour and a half. So it's been a really great day. So day 2 in the bag. Whoop, whoop. How are you doing with your challenge? Are you guys inspired? Are you going for it? Are you doing it? What are you doing in your garden? I'd love it. Show in the comments. And as always, like and subscribe so I know that I'm giving you something that you like. And I'll keep doing it. Thank you and have a great rest of your day. And I hope you get a chance to go out and enjoy your garden today.